Hello, welcome back to Too Many Books. My name is Sean, and today I would like to talk to you about Unbury Carol by Josh Malerman. This particular copy that I am reviewing is the hardcover signed and numbered edition from SST Publications. It is long sold out, so you have to find it in the secondary market, but it does feature incredible artwork by Ben Baldwin. But it is regularly available as a trade edition, so if you want to check this book out, I would seek out the trade edition. I'll give you more details about this edition after I'm done talking about the book itself. This is actually early Malerman. This is one of his first published novels. I mean, after Bird Box, after Black Mad Wheel. This is actually the second Malerman title I ever read. I read Bird Box, loved Bird Box, read this many years back, and loved it. But I gave it a reread, several years later, this year, 2025, and it didn't quite hold up for me. So let's dive in to Unbury Carol. It is the story of the titular Carol, who suffers from a condition that puts her into deep, dark comas, where she appears to everyone else as being dead. But she's not dead. She usually wakes up, a couple days later, good as new. But not many people know about this condition of hers. In fact, there are now only two people that know about this condition. Her husband, Dwight, who has very clearly married her for the money, and her former lover, James Moxey, who has, head for the hills. And when one of these comas strikes, good old husband Dwight decides he's going to play the sorrowful widower card, and he is going to bury Carol alive in her coma state to inherit the money and, call it a day. And so it is up to James Moxey, the famed outlaw who had some sort of mysterious duel that you'll learn more about over the course of the novel, who to ride the trail and save Carol. But, he is not alone on the trail. He is hunted along the way by a cartoonish double amputee villain by the name of Smoke, who is a pyromaniac, and Rot, who is the sort of supernatural, paranormal aspect of the novel. But all in all, Unbury Carol, is a Western, like a revisionist Western. It's a weird Western. And it's one that, on first reading several years back, had a very unique charm to it. I mean, the characters are almost kind of cliches in a way, whether it be Carol being like your Sleeping Beauty cliche, or Moxie being the troubled outlaw with a past. Smoke is very much a cartoonish villain. There was always this interesting charm. Dwight, the husband, is, kind of a soap opera character, wanting to get the money for himself. And that charm shined through the words that Malerman put to page, or at least it did the first time around. I hate to say it, going back and rereading this after having read further efforts by Josh Malerman, kind of soured the charm in a way. I mean, the cartoonish characters on the second read through, like Smoke, were just too silly for me this time around. I hate to say. That charm is gone. It has, lost its luster in the wake of other Malerman titles. It's kind of your Sleeping Beauty meets Wild West story. If you are looking for something that is very much offbeat for Josh Malerman, maybe you're like, I'm not really into his horror novels right now, I want to read something else. Then, a Western by Josh Malerman is certainly an interesting thing. It's not a bad read. It's just, if you're not a fan of Malerman's other works, you're probably not going to be a fan of this one. But if you do like Malerman's other works, or if you're just looking for a little different from him, then it's something you should worth checking out. One of my biggest complaints, and I actually had this complaint the first time I read it as well. Like I said, back in 2019 perhaps. It was a complaint about the ending, which I'm not going to go into detail right now because that was spoiler territory. I will talk about it in detail in a few minutes, but I will give you ample warnings, ample time to click off the video at that point before I go into spoiler territory. There is a piece about the ending that bugged the hell out of me last time, but I kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt. But having read other Malerman titles, specifically Mallory, and Mallory pissed me off, that when I went back and reread this, it just pissed me off about this ending, which is I kind of think one of the major points that that caused me to dislike it the second read around. But listen, I will get to that in a minute. If you are looking for a fancy edition, the fanciest edition out there right now is this SST edition. Nice little cloth-bound hardcover. It is signed by both Josh Malerman and Ben Baldwin, limited to 400 copies. Has lots of black and white artwork by Ben Baldwin, as well, like such as Smoke, as well as some good old color plates, such as Rot, and I believe Smoke Again. You know, gotta love your color plates. You can find the hardcover on the secondary market. So if you do not want to go into that spoiler territory, thank you guys very much for watching. Check out Unbury Carol if you do want a weird Western, as long as you don't mind some goofy, cartoonish characters. Please subscribe to the channel, and, you know, well, I do at least one book review a week, plenty of unboxing videos. But anyways, I am going to go into spoiler territory in 10 seconds. So 6:15, I'm going to just straight up spoil the ending for you, so you have been warned. So anyways, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Unbury Carol is a useless novel. It's harsh, I know. So the ending of the novel, this is Moxie, you know, the damsel in distress. Carol is, you know, in her coma. She needs to be saved by Moxie, who's riding in on the trail. There are always all these flashbacks throughout the novel talking about Carol's mother trying to basically protect Carol in her future, doing all sorts of little experiments on different coffins and such to try to help prevent this exact situation of Carol being buried alive. So anyways, Moxie arrives to save the day, only to find out the day has already been saved thanks to Carol's mother years prior. She has created a coffin that allows Carol to save herself. And so, at the end of the day, the damsel did not need saving, which is fine. The first time I read that, I was like, oh, you know, it's a nice little twist to the Sleeping Beauty story, Sleeping Beauty, you know, trope. But having read Mallory, which had one of the laziest, and not one of the laziest, the single laziest endings of any novels I have ever read, going back and rereading Carol, I'm feeling like this is just too lazy now. Like, in hindsight, this novel feels useless. And I hate to say that. I mean, it's an interesting journey along the way for Moxie. And like I said, even though Smoke is cartoonish, I think he is a fun type of cartoon villain. But, like, all in all, you have to ask yourself, like, what did I just read? Because if you took Smoke out of this, if you took Moxie out of this, if you took the whole trail out of this, and you just had Carol being buried alive, she saves herself anyways. You have a short story right there, not a 300-plus page novel. Which, I mean, like I said, it's not overly detrimental to the novel. I mean, the best comparison I can give you, and this is one that's been said online lots of times, not in terms of comparison, but in terms of useless, is Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones film. That's almost a useless film in a way. You take Indiana Jones out of that, the Nazis get the Ark, the Nazis open the Ark, the Nazis die, the U.S. government swoops in and takes the Ark. You know, it's one of those things where, like, the ending is inevitable. Much like Thanos, it's inevitable. You know, it's the journey along the way is fun, but you didn't need the journey to get to that ending. But like I said, being compared to Raiders of the Lost Ark is not a bad comparison. That is a classic film. So for some of you guys out there, Unbury Carol will be a classic novel. But having also read Mallory, which, like I said, is the laziest ending I've ever read in a novel, it sort of spoils Unbury Carol's kind of charm, or, you know, just like it tries to flip that trope on its head, but it almost just feels lazy in hindsight after reading Mallory. And that's unfortunately the shame of it. But anyways, that's Josh Malerman's Unbury Carol. That's my 2 cents on it. You know, I didn't expect this to go 10 minutes, but I do ramble, so that is to be expected, I suppose. Thank you guys very much for watching if you've stuck around to this point. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. I do at least one book review a week, plenty of unboxing videos in between here, including me ranting and raving about pretty much every Josh Malerman novel. I hate to say it, I used to be a huge Malermaniac, loving the works he put out, but I've sort of soured to his works. And I hate to say it, I'm looking for that Malerman novel to re-spark that love and joy I had of reading his titles. Maybe Incidents Around the House is going to be it. I heard that's a nice kind of throwback horror. I need to check that one out, but I haven't checked it out yet. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.